A billionaire. Real estate developer walks into Judge Caprio's courtroom like he owns it. Custom Italian suit worth more than most people's cars. Rolex presidential that could pay someone's rent for a year. Entourage of 3 waiting outside. Traffic violation red light camera. Should take 5 minutes, but from his first word, he makes it clear he doesn't think rules apply to him. Judge Caprio reviews the case. The CEO interrupts. Let me save you some time. How much is this going to cost me? I'll write a check right now, and we can both get back to more important things. Judge Caprio looks up slowly. Sir, this is a court proceeding, not a business transaction. The CEO smirks. Everything's a business transaction. Your Honor, I own shopping malls, office buildings, hotels. I own people like you. What happens next? When a judge reminds a billionaire that money can't buy respect, becomes the most devastating takedown in courtroom history. Subscribe and drop your city, because this entitled CEO learns the most expensive lesson of his life. Monday morning, 9:00 a.m. The bailiff calls case 16-294. Richard Ashford, violation of traffic control device. Red light camera. A man in his early 50s strides to the podium, not walk strides. Everything about him screams wealth. Armani Gildosegna suit, perfectly tailored Hermes tie. Shoes so polished they reflect the courtroom lights. Diamond cufflinks catching every eye. He doesn't look nervous, he looks bored. Judge Caprio glances up. Good morning. Mr. Ashford, morning? No. Your Honor, just morning like their colleagues at a coffee shop. Mr. Ashford, you're cited for running a red light at the intersection of Westminster and Weybosset. The red light camera captured your vehicle, a 2020 Ford Bentley Continental, proceeding through the intersection 1.3 seconds after the light turned red. Do you recall this incident? Richard pulls out his phone, checks something, then looks back up. Not specifically, I drive through dozens of intersections daily. But I'm sure it happened. Your cameras don't lie, right? The evidence supports the citation, yes. Great, so how much do I owe? He reaches into his jacket, pulls out a leather checkbook. Actual checks like it's 1985. Let's settle this so I can get to my 10:30 meeting. I have investors flying in from Dubai, and they don't wait. Judge Caprio's expression remains neutral, but something flickers in his eyes. Mr. Ashford, this isn't about settling. This is a court hearing to determine, with all respect, Your Honor, I know how these things work. I ran a red light, I'm guilty. I'll pay the fine, let's not waste each other's time with theater. You tell me the number, I write the check. We both move on with our lives. Mr. Ashford, the fine for red light violation is $85. $85, he laughs. Genuinely laughs, Your Honor. I spend more than that on lunch. Let me write you a check for $500. Consider it a donation to whatever fund you have. Traffic safety, courthouse renovations, whatever. Judge Caprio's voice gets firmer. Sir, I don't accept donations in luau. Following proper legal procedure. Richard sighs heavily like a parent dealing with a difficult child. Look, I understand you have a process. I respect that, but I'm a businessman. Time is money. My time is worth approximately $12,000 per hour, based on my company's annual revenue and my working hours. That means every minute I stand here costs me $200. Can we expedite this, Mr. Ashford? Your hourly rate doesn't change. Court procedure, everything has a price. Your Honor, everything. I've been in negotiations my entire life. There's always a way to make things move faster. If you're willing to pay for efficiency, the courtroom is watching this unfold with growing discomfort. Is this man really trying to buy his way through a court hearing? Judge Caprio sets down his pen. Mr. Ashford, let me be clear. This court doesn't operate on your timeline or your financial principles. We operate on the law. You'll participate in this hearing, like every other citizen who appears before me. Richard's smile fades slightly. I'm not every other citizen. Your Honor, I employ over 2,000 people. I pay more in taxes in 1 quarter than most people earn in a lifetime. I sit on 5 corporate boards and 3 charitable foundations. My company is worth $1.8 billion. I think that entitles me to a little flexibility in how we handle an $85 traffic ticket. Judge Caprio leans back, studying Richard carefully. Mr. Ashford, your financial success is admirable. Your employment of 2,000 people is commendable. But none of that gives you special treatment in this courtroom. I'm not asking for special treatment. I'm asking for a fishing treatment. There's a difference. Efficient treatment is what everyone receives here. You're getting the same process as the person who came before you, and the person who will come after you. Richard's patience, what little he had, snaps. Your Honor, do you know who I am? I don't mean that as arrogance. I mean it literally. Do you know what Ashford Development Corporation is? I'm aware of your company, yes? Then you know, I develop commercial real estate throughout New England. Office buildings, shopping centers, luxury condos. I've built half of downtown Providence's skyline over the last 20 years. He gestures vaguely toward the window. The building 3 blocks from here, mine. The hotel across the street, mine. The parking structure where I parked my Bentley this morning. Also mine. I'm aware you're a significant property owner. I'm not just a property owner. I'm an economic engine for this city. When I build a project, it creates hundreds of construction jobs. When I lease space, it generates tax revenue that pays for schools, roads, police, courts. People like me, he catches himself. But doesn't stop people like me. Keep cities like Providence running. Judge Caprio's expression hardens almost imperceptibly. People like you, business leaders, developers, entrepreneurs, the people who take risks, create jobs, generate wealth, we're the ones who make everything else possible. I see, and where do people like me fit into your worldview? Mr. Ashford, Richard realizes too late that he's walked into dangerous territory, but his ego won't let him retreat. Your Honor, I didn't mean any disrespect. I'm just saying there's a hierarchy to society. Some people create value and some people maintain systems. Both are necessary, but one is more economically vital than the other. So judges maintain systems and billionaires create value. In simplest terms, yes. You enforce laws that people like me operate within. It's complementary, not competitive. Judge Caprio's voice drops to just above a whisper. Mr. Ashford, would you say I work for you? Richard hesitates. He knows this is a trap. But his arrogance propels him forward. In a philosophical sense, yes. My taxes pay your salary. The economic activity my company generates funds the court system. So in that framework, you could say public servants serve taxpayers. And I'm one of the largest taxpayers in Rhode Island. The courtroom is dead silent. People are holding their breath, so because you pay substantial taxes, you believe I serve you? I believe we have a transactional relationship. I contribute to the system financially. The system provides services. That includes law enforcement, courts, infrastructure. You're part of that service infrastructure. Judge Caprio nods slowly. Service infrastructure. Interesting term for the judicial branch of government. Your Honor, I'm not trying to offend you. I'm being honest about how the world works. Money funds everything without taxpayers like me. There is no court system, no judges, no bailiffs, no public defenders. None of it exists without people creating wealth and paying into the system. So we should be grateful I didn't say that. But it's what you meant, that judges, police officers, teachers, all public servants should be grateful that wealthy taxpayers like you allow us to exist. Richard's face flushes. You're twisting my words. I'm simply stating economic reality. Wealth creation enables public services. That's not controversial, that's basic economics. And then he says it, the sentence that changes everything. Look, Your Honor, I don't mean to be rude, but I own people like you. I own the buildings you work in. I own the roads you drive on. I own the economy that makes your salary possible. So can we please just finish this transaction, so I can get back to actually creating value. Subscribe to the narrator if you believe respect isn't for sale. For 5 full seconds, Judge Caprio says nothing. Just stares at Richard Ashford, with an expression that could freeze fire. When he speaks, his voice is quiet but carries like thunder. Mr. Ashford, did you just tell me you own me? Judge Caprio's voice stays calm, but the kind of calm that comes before a storm. Let me remind you, Mr. Ashford, that no one owns anyone in this courtroom. Not by wealth, not by influence. Not by ego. He leans forward slightly. You may own buildings, you may own cars. You may even own corporations, but you do not own people. Richard smirks, but his confidence is fading fast. Your Honor, it was a figure of speech. I didn't mean. You meant exactly what you said, and I heard it clearly. You said you own people like me. That tells me everything I need to know about how you see the world. Judge Caprio's voice sharpens. You think success means superiority? That money buys respect, that the law bends for those with bank accounts big enough to pressure it. He pauses, but in this courtroom, Mr. Ashford, everyone is equal. From the janitor to the billionaire, because justice doesn't measure worth in dollars. The courtroom is silent. You could hear a pin drop. Judge Caprio continues. Let me show you how this system you think you own actually works. He opens the case file. Your red light violation. $85. Because you failed to appear on your scheduled hearing date. That fine doubles to $170. Richard shifts uncomfortably. Additionally, your attempt to buy your way through this process and your statements of ownership over public servants are acts of contempt. That's an additional $1,000. Richard's jaw tightens. Your Honor, this is absurd. Silence. The single word hits like a hammer. You have disrespected this court, this process, and the very principles that hold a civilized society together. I could hold you in direct contempt and order 24 hours in jail, but I suspect humiliation will teach you more than confinement. He signs the order. $1,170 fine payable within 30 days. Failure to pay will result in a warrant. Richard opens his mouth, then closes it. There's nothing left to say. Judge Caprio leans back. Let me leave you with this thought. Mr. Ashford, you build buildings. I build balance. You create wealth. I create fairness. You measure success in dollars. I measure it in dignity. And today you're bankrupt in the only currency that truly matters. Respect. The courtroom erupts. Soft applause at first, then louder. Even the bailiff can't hide a smile. Richard stands there, eyes burning, realizing for the first time in years, maybe decades, he's not the most powerful man in the room. He writes the check, slowly hands it to the clerk, and walks out in silence. Outside reporters swarm him. Mr. Ashford, do you have a comment? He just mutters one line before getting into his Bentley. I thought I could buy time. Turns out I just bought humility. 3 days later, clips of the hearing flood social media. CEO tells judge he owns him. Instantly regrets it. Judge Caprio delivers most savage courtroom reality check ever. The narrator's channel explodes with comments. This is justice. This is why money should never mean power. Judge Caprio, the voice of reason in a world gone arrogant. A week later, Richard Ashford issues a statement. I disrespected a man who represents what I forgot: accountability. I apologize to Judge Caprio and to the people who look up to me. Wealth without humility is just noise. And that day, for once, the billionaire learned something: money couldn't buy perspective.